Welcome. This is the Enlightenment Show, and I'm your host, Laurie Schoenfeld. This is where Chicken Soup for the Soul meets the artist way with Nancy Drew. Our guest today is Annie McDonnell, author of Annie's Song. We're going to be chatting today with her about her new release and how grief has amplified her love for those around her. Hi, Annie.
Hi, Lori. I'm so excited to be here. I thought I should bring pom-poms.
100%. We totally should have prepared pom-poms.
Yes, we should have done that.
Excitement.
I've always been like, can I talk to you? Can we talk? Because I know we'd be really great friends. But we are already. We just have not met on like this. So thank you very much for having me. And I want you to know you're the first one that scheduled an interview with me. So thank you. You will never be forgotten for that. You're in the scrapbook because I'm a scrapbooker.
Annie, I have not scrapbooked in a long time, but I love scrapbooking and I've been thinking about coming back to it. So
you must. It's so much fun. It would be fun for your stuff with your show. That'd be fun, yeah. Mm-hmm. And your kids. I love all the stuff you do with your kids.
Thank you. Yeah, I'm journaling in their books, trying to write down a little bit each week on what's going on in their life, just so I can remember, because it goes fast,
Oh, that's true. You're right. That's such a wonderful idea. Plus, sometimes you start losing your memory when you get older. So it's something you can look back at. I think that's such a great idea for so many reasons. Like for their grandparents, that's a great idea.
Thank you, my friend. Your book came out, Annie, last week on Monday. How has it been for you this past week with your first debut book?
It's been insane because I didn't anticipate it to be as welcome as it was. Not that if you're going to put a book out, you obviously believe you have some skill in writing, but I was hoping people would receive it well, and people are receiving it well, and it's very exciting to me. And I understand it's not going to be everybody's cup of tea, but to the people that it is, they're getting from it exactly like why I wrote it. And that's so, like, I keep crying when I talk to my friend Patricia. I just can't, I'm crying with joy, and I've never had that problem. And now I have this problem of crying with joy. It's very exciting and very exciting.
Mm-hmm. Can you share with us all about Annie's Song?
Okay. Well, that could be a lot of long talk, but I'll keep it short. It originally started a very long time ago because I always believed I'd be a writer, but I also believed I'd be the president of the United States as a kid. I think we all are taught to want that job, right? So my third grade teacher, Mr. Book, and I am looking for him. I have a reading comprehension problem. I still have it. So I have to take notes when I read. But it comes in handy when you're interviewing an author, because you have the notes on all of their books, so it's all right there. But he taught me how to take notes when I read, what was important, and how to put it on the paper. And he had me start book reviewing in the school paper. But I would literally just write, "This book is really good. You should read it." But I also realized when I saw that I did that to this day, that really is the perfect review, because it's a written review. So people that are scared to write reviews can simply write that, or an adjective or whatever. So I thought that was pretty neat, because I was teaching that. So I remembered it, obviously, somehow. But then I started taking Diane Zinna's grief writing Sunday class, where you get a prompt, and when she starts talking, you just are like melting, and you're like in a zone. She's very special. She's a very special person, like you are. And she makes gives you a very comfortable space to say something you may never have said to anyone before,
Mm.
right? And if you did, you certainly wouldn't put it into writing, because then there's like a proof of it somewhere. Um, and then the group, you start falling in love with the group, and you sometimes you read your piece. I try to read as often as I can. I love to read my pieces, um, if I think they're good that day. But you write for about 15 minutes, she gives you a prompt, and it was like within 15 minutes, I poured my heart out, and I feel this lifting of the grief that I was writing about go away. So I was getting lighter, more confident as a person, less depressed. I am no longer on
Mhm.
my antidepressants. I still go to the counselor though, but I'm no longer on my antidepressants. So it's pretty cool, that she gave such a safe space to write things. And I would write about things that I said, "Oh my gosh, I didn't know I was grieving that. Oh, wow, I was grieving that too." Because these prompts you start to write, and they lead you somewhere that you might not have expected. You might say, "Oh, I'm gonna write about my stepmom that I lost today." And then
Mhm.
you're writing about your cat that you lost when you were 5. It's just you never know what's going to come. And then I would get off the phone, get off the Zoom call, and I would call Echo Garrett of Lucid House Publishing, because we're friends, and I'd say, "Okay, I need to read you my story." "Okay. All right, Annie. Okay, it's a poem this time. I promise it's not long." And then it would be really long, type of thing. But I'd read it to her, and she'd listen intently. And then eventually she said, "Annie, we need to publish your writing." And I was like, nobody's going to care what this is. And she was like, "No, they will. And this will help people." And that's the most important part. But what it's about my traumas, um, anywhere from a car accident to a rape, or well, there's 2 rapes in there. Um, I don't want to give too much away. Um, Losing children to miscarriage before I had a total hysterectomy, I was 23. Um, a lot of things people don't my friends know, but not a lot of people know about me. So then and my illnesses, and why I think certain things led to the illnesses, but also why Mayo Clinics,
Mhm.
they believe it's trauma, but also a car accident I was in, because spinal fluid could have leaked into my bloodstream to cause an infection, and my body's fighting it, even though it can't fix it, and it could, because it's too late to try. And I was like, "Oh my gosh, I wish I knew that when I had the lawsuit for breaking my neck, that it would affect the rest of my life." But but I write about it in such a way, I believe, that I'm saying, but you have this
Mhm.
love also. You don't just have the trauma, you have the love, you have the support, you have this, you have nice scented candles, you can go wash your face with smelly soap, like all these things. Get a dog and love on the dog,
Mhm.
just I think it's giving ideas of hope, and, like, that was my point. But I also wanted people to learn empathy and compassion for people with invisible illness, because we're always misunderstood, and then you feel like you're always trying to explain, but you're doing it because you feel like nobody understands, and you just want to feel understood. And
Mhm.
that was very important to me. Not to question your friend, like, to maybe think twice before you question a friend, but just understand, like, okay, they're really hurting. And then I got bullied on Facebook, which was horrific, horrific. Um, and I said, "Okay, let's publish this book. I'm gonna tell my story." I asked every doctor, could I use their name? And they said, "Yeah, do you want your records? Do you need anything?" Like, because I said I was bullied. They were like, because my doctors love me. They're like my team.
Mhm.
And yeah, so and then I put songs, QR codes for songs in it, um, like here. So it's a song that would go with the time frame that trauma or story happened, or Love on Route 58 where I broke my neck in the car accident. Songs that would have been playing on the radio at that time. I think I might have put 5
Mhm.
songs on that one. It was the 80s, and there's a lot of really good music from the 80s. Um, some videos are on there. So it's just a lot of stuff. And then a Spotify link for everything.
Mhm.
But Annie's song was named Annie's song Dandelions, Dreams, and Dogs because it's like the theme song to my life altogether. I also love John Denver's song, Annie's song. And if you listen to the words, it's about happiness and sadness together, which is my life, right? Which is everybody's life, really.
Mhm.
And then the dandelions, because I love wishing on dandelions ever since I was a kid. You'll learn that in the book. Dreams, I have dream sequences in there, and dogs. I mean, come on, my life is about dogs. So sorry, that was a very long explanation, but that was very clear in what the book's about.
Mhm. There's so many beautiful layers that I'm excited to talk to you about with what you just mentioned, Annie. We have a guest, Luana Spencer says hello. Hi,
Hello,
Luana.
hi, Luana. I love your name.
Going back to when you talked about being in Diane's class, your book, what I love about it, Annie, is that you literally rip open your heart and just pour out your soul on the pages. And I feel like I'm getting where I knew pieces of you before we're here chatting. I got so much more understanding and depth on these beautiful layers of timelines and experiences and heart and despair of what that looked like for you, which I commend you for your bravery on that beautiful, all those beautiful pieces that you put within your book. How did Diane's class strengthen you to be able to write about those pieces?
Thank you. Thank you for everything you just said. Because everyone's remarks after I'd read an essay or post it on our private Facebook page, people would feel my love, my pain, but it also touched them somewhere in their life and might have made them see something differently. I'd get a private note about that. And I'd say, wait a second, we're all not talking about this. Like losing a child. I'm sorry. I lost a boy and a girl, but I lost a girl at 5 months, and her name was Savannah Alexis. And I still feel like I'm her mom, whether people want to acknowledge that or not. But Carmela, my stepmother, always made her an ornament for the Christmas tree, you know. And then when she passed on, it was like I felt like, okay, now I really lost Savannah because nobody was keeping her alive with me. And I also didn't like only lighting candles on a really sad day. I want to be celebrated on Mother's Day because I feel like I'm going to meet her in heaven. She's just waiting for me, and I know who she's with, and so I think she's fine. I have a different train of thought on certain things, and everyone in Diane's class really understood everything I was always trying to say, but I also love their writing. Like, I learned so much about you. I mean, the yellow, I'll never think of yellow in the same way as I think it was the teapot, right?
The crock pot.
Crock pot, sorry. But it's, you know, it stood out to me, that piece, very much. It was so beautiful. And all of your pieces are. And when you start to talk, I know I'm like, okay, where are the tissues? Oh, I'm gonna eat the tissues. But like that's a good thing to need the tissues. It's a very good thing, especially as women. We feel we don't have permission to cry. You know,
Yes. Yep.
we really do. And I feel that it's very important that we do because your story, there's like 10 or 12 of us who have a similar story to where your story now has strengthened us
Mm-hmm.
in lieu of your words. We feel stronger because we no longer feel alone, but it also could make us see something in a different light, right? And I found that to be very empowering. So I thought, okay, I need to share my stuff with the world because I wasn't graced with children in my lifetime. You know, I don't have anyone to teach. I always looked forward to um, passing something on. So the book is my way of doing that, passing my legacy on, my thoughts, things I might have taught my child or children. I wanted children. Just, and then, you know, maybe the book will be read 10 years after I'm gone. So it's like a kid talking about me. Like I created like this dream in my head that, okay, I'm going to live on. Or maybe someone in my family will say, my aunt wrote a book. You should read it. I have a nephew that actually like posted, look what my aunt's writing, you know. And I was like, look what her book that's coming out. And I was like, ah, it was like the greatest thing. So that's where it all came from, was from the group and from Diane and her safe space. I mean,
Mm-hmm.
she's the second chapter in my book because the first one is I want you to experience the book. I don't want you to just read it because it reads like a journal. So where one story ends, the other one will start right after it. It won't wait till the next page. And there's dandelions and shamrocks. But so it feels like you're reading a journal. And I feel when you can read that way, that was Echo's idea, but when you can read that way, you do tend to read faster
Mm-hmm.
because you're
Yeah.
so used to reading letters quicker than a book. It's just like Camille Pagan wrote a book with text, and you could read that so fast because you're like, when you read a text, you're like, huh? So you read the book just like that. So I thought that was a great idea from Echo to do that. But Diane, and I had another teacher, Lisa C. She does artwork with memoir, grief writing. But I just have to say that I was introduced to Lisa C. by Diane. So her group of
Mm-hmm.
people, like her group, Jennifer Ann Gordon is one of her friends. Anyone who is her friend, wrapped around in her cocoon, are all very special people. So she made me believe because of y'all's group, like a little sorority. And I'm not saying everyone's in the class. They know her like their teachers or other author friends that she loves. I was so jealous. I interviewed her for her book. And then and at some point, I found out that her and Jennifer were like best friends. And I'm like, oh, how'd y'all meet? She's like, I interviewed her. I was like, well, gosh, what did I do that I'm not your best friend? Like, I don't know. It's just funny. Not really, but I just thought it was so cool that they became so close that way.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just feeling safe. So I want people to feel safe to talk about the stuff that's in here and not be ashamed. Like I have love letter to my children. And everyone that's lost children has written me letters. Or that I I think. Like I've gotten a lot of letters saying, "Wow, you told it like it's like exactly how I feel," but I've always been scared to say. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I mean, I'm not meaning it because it's not a mean piece of work. Um, so I think and about the stiff person syndrome. Not really, not a lot of people know what that is at all. Um,
Mm-hmm.
because not everybody has it. And you can be misdiagnosed, several times. And I would have only been the second book that came out with stiff person syndrome story, right? And then Celine Dion announced that she had it shortly before my book came out. So then the Stiff Person Syndrome Research Foundation interviewed me, and they're so proud. They're so proud, and uh, they're a wonderful group. And if we can get some money in, because there's all the proceeds from the book are going to charity, and I got that from Diane too, because she does everything, generous of spirit. Like her classes are free, but you can make donations, and she does things for the students. Like one day she said, "You always say at the end of reading my essays or poems, I would always say, 'And is anyone going to take me to the beach?'" I haven't been to the beach since I became disabled, and she was like, "What if we found you a wheelchair to get you on the beach?"
You need to get to the beach. Yes.
I did get to the beach, but I mean, it was because I got the idea from her, but it was so beautiful that she thought, let's get Annie to the beach, and I wanted to do this, the same thing. So I said, Echo, if we publish the book, could all of the profits go to charity? And then it was like, can it go to 4 charities? Like that's a lot of work for her, but she said yes. And so it's going to One Love Dog Rescue that I volunteer for, and I have our dogs from, and the Muse Writing Center in Norfolk, Norfolk, Virginia, that has classes online, and they give me scholarships. But I met them from Diane. The Pat Conroy Literary Center in Beaufort, North Carolina, because he's one of my favorite writers, and then the Stiff Person Research Foundation. And there's no research yet on stiff person syndrome because there's not enough money yet. So that would be really nice if some research starts, because there's no cure. You get it and you die from it.
I want to dive in on that too, Annie, talk about what stiff person syndrome is here in a minute. We do have a few comments that would like to be seen. Jessie. Hello, Jessie. Oh man, permission to cry, nail on the head. May we cry loudly when need be and embrace the melody of our hearts moving into the sky. Oh, that is so beautiful.
I love, we both said that at the same time. I mean, that's beautiful. Woo! That's a Hallmark. I love that quote.
And yes, Julia, Miss Julia Slack, I want to be in this group. You are invited, Julia. We will send you the link. It is fabulous, as Annie had mentioned. You are invited. You're in.
It'll be fun to meet you.
So let's talk about, Annie, because that is a really great question that you brought up. Is not a lot of people know about stiff person syndrome. Can you educate us and let us know what it is?
Well, I do want to say one thing. Not a lot of people know what it is. Doctors don't even know. You can Google it, Dr. Google it. That's what I call it. And it will tell you what it is. But they really don't know, because every time I get a new symptom, they try to figure out how to fix it. And they know it's from the stiff person syndrome because it's spasms. But that's not on Google, right? So people think they know. Drink tonic water. Don't you get cramps? I'm like, it's not the same type of thing. It's a different kind of twisting and turning. I had it at first in my torso. But it took a long time to figure out what was wrong with me. I went through many diagnoses, but I do want to say, like, they put me in the hospital all the time. So they put me in the hospital last Sunday. And like, you have no choice when you're cared for by Catholic Home Care. Unless you have a good plan. I had a good plan for 2 days, but then I went downhill again. And it was like, no, that's it. You have to go. So I went. And the doctor told me that the nurse went up to her and said, this woman's telling me she has stiff person syndrome. I mean, they all have these stories. And she said, I had to tell her, That's a real thing. She's like, but I only know because I met 2 patients with it. So it's really, you have to meet people. And when I'm in the hospital, they send me everybody to come talk to me. I mean, they just need to let me take a little vacation there and interview me the whole time. I'm joking. I call the hospital Guadalajara. I say I'm on vacation. I'm in Guadalajara. But because I know it's a mental thing. If you change the names of things, it helps a lot. But okay, so it started in my torso. You can either have the one with the limbs or the torso, where it starts. And my psoas muscles kept twisting and twisting, and they're the ones that go right across your abdomen. And I went to a special type of physical therapist who said, man, every time I try to relax it, it gets tighter. I think you have stiff person syndrome. And I was like, I have what? Because I already had RA, endometriosis, Hashimoto's. I mean, it was like, what else could I have? And, you know, I could feel like people distancing from me the more I had, because it was like, something's wrong with this girl. You know, she can't have all of these things, which was hard. It still is, because it still happens. And so I went to back to the neurologist, and I said, she thinks I have stiff person syndrome. He's like, I got the note. We did the test. I had stiff person syndrome. But when I went to Mayo, they said I didn't, but they only tested the limb startle reflex. They didn't test the torso, because that's not a startle reflex. It's totally different. But 2 weeks later, they got the test back, the blood test. And they said, oh my gosh, she does have it. Okay. So, but then it goes to your limbs. So it creeps through your body, and it can shut down organs if you have the PER, the perm version of it, which is what I have. And my organs don't talk to my brain. So I don't even get told when to go to the bathroom. Like the messenger service is closed, you know, and I had a heart problem for years. And then finally I got rid of one cardiologist because he was putting me in hospice, and I got a new one. And he came in, he said, you don't need a plumber. We're plumbers. You need an electrician. So then he went in and fixed it. We thought. And then a month later, it came right back with having problems. But he can't burn more of my sinus node away, you know. So it's kind of like you just have to deal with it. You get edema. You have a hard time walking. It used to be called the Tin Man disease. Then it was stiff man syndrome. Now it's stiff person syndrome, because there's so many women with it. But you literally turn into a tin person, because you get very stiff. You have a hard time, like getting up is like standing up out of the mud. Everything's very difficult. Like sitting here is exercise. It's called active sitting. Like other people don't have to actively sit, you know. But and now I'm falling asleep at the drop of a hat. I fell asleep during an interview once, and I don't even want to go there, but we're trying to see if we can fix that. But like I get tremors, so they say I have Parkinson's, so I'm on that medicine. But it's really stiff person syndrome. And then so I can't take the medicine that will keep me awake, because it's like taking a lot of coffee. So my tremors, then my head started shaking. I said, no, I can't take this stuff, because it's I'd rather fall asleep than have tremors. Tremors are such a hard thing to deal with in life. And I drop everything. It just falls out of my hand. Now my hand twitches and the stuff flies around, you know? So like every time I drink, it has to have a lid on it. So I feel like a kid, you know, and my husband brings me my plate. You know, it's just like, and when I go to my in-laws, I can't help clear off the table, because I could drop something. You know, it's everything. And plus it's hard to walk back and forth anyway. But it's and it's terminal. When it goes to this part of your body, it's called end stage because it's involving your vocal cords and your throat. And now I have edema in my throat that's like always there. So often I'll get spasms in here and it closes. So we're getting a board and a card for me to carry with me when I go anywhere that says, stop. Where are you, Annie? Blow as little breath out as you can, very slowly. So like to try, instead of oh my God, okay, don't forget Lillian. Don't I tell somebody I love them. Instead of that, because you prepare to die. You prepare to die. And so we're trying to change it so that I relax more because I'm admitting that I freak out every time it happens. Like I do. You know, it's a very hard disease because you want to hide. You know, I use a walker and now I'm getting a wheelchair, but that's for the purpose of being able to maybe go to craft fairs with my friends or something, like be more active. Well, I won't be active. Somebody will be pushing me, but so that I could go out because I can't walk far. I can't walk into a store and go shopping because it's too far. If I go to check the mailbox, I might not be able to get back. Because what happens is you might have a spasm and you start to harden as you walk and your stomach hardens when you walk. So then the breathing gets harder. So it's this crazy, I don't understand how it happens. Like I say, is this for real? You know, but and you're in end stage when it gets here because it's going to get you one day, and that's just how it goes. So
what are common misconceptions, Annie, that you feel people have around autoimmune disorders and diseases?
I think that people think everybody has it, so it doesn't matter that you have it. Or what's hard for me is when people say, well, mine's not as bad as yours. I don't think you ever compare. You never compare pain because nobody, or suffering, or whatever you want to call it. It's all the same. There's a quote. I forget the quote. I'm so upset right now. But it's something about like how you can't compare the pain because no matter what, if you stub your foot and I broke my leg, we're both hurting and we're both upset and freaking out about how we're feeling. And so it feels the same to both of us. And so you have to love each other enough and give each other the same empathy. And I think that's very important, and compassion for whatever they're going through. But I think people always say, I mean, come on, I have common variable immunodeficiency. I have autoimmune diseases. I have autoinflammatory diseases and neurological muscular autoimmune diseases, right? So it's like everything. And not all of them are immunodeficiency. I have immunodeficiency because I don't make my own antibodies. And people have actually, do you know how many people write to me and say, all you need is On Guard from doTERRA? I'm like, no, I need human antibodies delivered into my bloodstream. I appreciate everyone's help. I do use On Guard a lot. Ask my friend Serena. I love essential oils, but that's an addition to an infusion. People will say, too much medicine is so bad for you. Well, I went off the medicine. I tried Boswellia extract. I gained 30 pounds in water weight in a week. I was so allergic to the stuff, I had no idea. I tried the Chinese tea medicine that cost a fortune. I was allergic to that. So that's all medicine too. Essential oil is also a medicine. So nobody should be going around saying, you should try this, you should try that. You have to be talking to an expert, like about essential oils. Like Simon's eyes got burnt from tea tree shampoo, and the poor groomer thought he was really burnt from it. And she said she thought she was upgrading their care, but it ends up the person that was selling it didn't know. Don't put it on their face, but anyway, it's just what I'm trying to say is you can't act like you're everyone's doctor. And I think that's the hardest part. I think you need to come to where somebody is and understand, let them tell you how they feel about something. And then if they ask for advice, give advice. That's my most important thing. If they want advice, give advice. Because trust me, every human that has autoimmune things, they are trying everything. They're going round robin, trying everything themselves. You can't act like you're their doctor. And the Google doctoring is hysterical to me. It's hysterical to me. You're supposed to be going to EPUB to get like the real doctor stuff. But another misconception about it, I would say, is people not understanding when you're their friend and you have to cancel things.
Oh, yes.
People drop you like a hot potato, and then, I had to do so much for them. It's like, well, if you were my friend, what do you want to help me? Because I would do it for you. And hopefully I'll be better and I can do it for you. Like, it's really, really a hard thing. Losing friends because you can't make it places, or especially when you love your friends, so I think that's the biggest misconception, is not understanding, being patient and being kind to your friend. I mean, when I get like a hello from, oh my God, when you write to me, it's just like you heal me for the day, because your words are so beautiful. And I believe what you're telling me. And that's the best part about it. I don't feel like you're just throwing words at me. And be feeling wrapped in love really does heal you. I believe that. Like when I was going into, they were that cardiologist put me into hospice, and then we decided I would increase the IVIG and not go into hospice. I was convinced love was going to save me. And I think that's why I'm still here.
You are one of the most loving, joyful people that I know. And I love your energies. You're constantly just giving out love wherever you go, no matter what's going on in your life. How do you live life to the fullest, Annie?
Well, I learned a lot from my stepmother, Carmela. She celebrated every little thing, everything, every single thing. Like I say, like Savannah, she never forgot my miscarriage, right? Like she honored my daughter. But I have an essay on her where it starts off something like, she's like the colored Easter egg, big cake with a big bow on it, sparklers flying, like the kind of present you don't want to open because it's too pretty. It's something like that. And that's how she was. And I started to learn from her that you had to celebrate things. Like when I was first diagnosed with RA, I was devastated because I worked at the ambulance. I couldn't lift the stretcher anymore. And she came over with this big bag of stuff for when I go to doctor appointments and get infusions. And it was like a calendar, coloring book, cards to play solitaire, all of these things. And she was like, this is not going to suck. We're not going to let it ruin your life. It's going to be okay. Blah, blah, blah. So, I just started following her take on life and living that way, living as her daughter, as her daughter, type of thing. And, trying to celebrate others that's really big to me, because I don't feel celebrated by certain people I love very much. And it hurts me every single day. It hurts when you love someone so deeply and they don't care about you. So if you give love away, it's like sharing all this love that you have. I feel like I walk around and I'm just like, love, 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 love. But I lost my best friend when she was 15. I was 15. She was 12. And I never said I love you to her. She never said I love you to me. We did exchange or she gave me a sticker that said, I love you more than chocolate itself. And then I ended up finding one for her. And now if I ever see it on eBay, I get it because Tom found one on eBay and that's how that all started. But so I was like, okay, she told me she loved me more than chocolate, but we didn't say it to one another. So that became a very profound part of my life, saying I love you, because Carmela always said I love you all the time. And I believed her. She wasn't just saying it. She was acting the love. Love is an action word. It's not a speak word. You know, you don't just talk it. And she oh, I forgot what I was saying. I do this all the time. I'm sorry.
you're
Um,
you're
what was your
perfect.
question again?
So Carmela was just bringing you lots of joy.
Oh yeah, she just taught me to always be joyful, or try to be. Because when you're very, very sad, you can get joyful by speaking joyful. So like my friend and I that both have stiff person syndrome, we send each other a singing telegram every morning. And we sound ridiculous. Well, she doesn't, because she can make every sound in the world. But I send them to friends, and I don't sound good. But yes, but I just love it because I think it puts a smile on people's faces, and it doesn't cost anything. You know, and that's not the point, that it doesn't cost anything. I'm just trying to say it's easy to share love. It's easy to make people feel better. And it doesn't have to be a big thing. It could be a little thing. And but all day I have this constant list going, okay, you must do this for this person, you have to do this for this person. So every day it's a rollout from that list. And that comes from Carmela. I saw her do it for everyone at her job. She was dying and she was making these beautiful bows for the children's hospice Christmas party. And she died in April, but she was still giving back. And the biggest thing was, she wrote a letter to someone I worked with that said, Annie's always doing for me. And I love her so much. And I know you do too. She talks about you all the time. Can you please keep loving her when I'm gone? Because I know she's going to be lonely. She's starving for love. So the point is, she understood I starved for love. And I do, and I don't know why, but that's part of me, and I accept it. Ever since I read that letter, I'm like, she's right. And I'm not going to hide it. I like to get love. I like to get attention. Not attention. It's a different word. I like to feel embraced, like you embraced me, Lori. I like to feel embraced by my friends, and I start book reviews off at a 5, and then they have to come down. I do that with people too. They start at I love you the second when I meet them and I decide we're friends. And then, you have to really hurt me to make us no longer friends or whatever. But you don't have to. I don't grow into love. I start with love. I don't know that's how it works with me. And I got that from her.
I got a few of your songs that you sing to me, and they always bring me such joy, Annie.
That's so funny. That's so funny. I don't believe that it's funny that I do that, but and I love that you enjoy them, because like when you talk to me, you make me feel like the golden egg that just, got picked up, and it's just, or the golden bar of chocolate, like the luckiest person on the face of the planet. And I'm going to survive this type of thing. So like I can write like that, but I can't talk like that. So it's the way I do that is by singing to you. So I hope you feel as loved as I feel.
I 100%. So I actually have to tell you, when you sent me the last singing clip, I was with my kids and we were just coming home from the grocery store. And I was like, okay, kids, I put the groceries down very quickly on the table. I'm like, I have something to do. Go find something to do. And I was like, Annie gave me a song. I need like Annie's song right now. I just dropped everything on the table and went outside to listen to your song. So,
Oh, thank you. But do you see, like, Annie's song is like a part of my life. I sing to Sullivan, Daphne, Bonnie, and now Daphne comes for me to be sang to. She's a Pyrenees, so her love is different. But now she's like coming to me and standing there. I'm like, oh my God, she wants me to sing to her. But it's like same time every day with the other two. And if I start a certain song, you'll hear Bonnie come a running because she's like a horse. I mean, it's the cutest thing in the world.
These are your dogs.
Yes, Bonnie, Daphne, and Sullivan. Yes, I have 3 dogs, and I treat them like children. I sing to them. I mean, I would put a diaper on them if I had to. You know, whatever I need to do to put love on them. But like Sullivan, he's like, okay, you need to lay down. I go, oh, my blood pressure must be high. My blood pressure's high. But he knows, you know, but at 9:30 it's bedtime, and there's no other choice in the matter type of thing with him, because he snuggles me, puts both of his arms around me and stares at me, and I have to sing to him till he falls asleep. I was trying to make a video of him falling asleep, and it ended up that as soon as I got to the end of the song, I started sliding down the pillow and I started snoring. It's the funniest thing. Like, I put myself to sleep right at the second that I ended the song. It was so funny. But it's like, I can never share that with anyone because I'm like, you know. But and Bonnie loves, she comes and she gives me her paw, like waiting to be sang to, and she hugs me on my shoulder. But if I say HELP, she comes running and she helps me off the couch. But it's kind of like I don't really lean on her, but she likes to HELP. So she believes she's I was like, why does she keep standing in front of me? But she noticed I was having a hard time getting off the couch. So she was trying to help. I have the best dogs. I mean, Daphne's just like lays on my feet if I'm sitting up. You know, she's a protector. You know, everyone gives love different. Every dog does too. And I think dogs are fabulous. I lost Simon. He's the dog on the cover. And he was like the best dog on the face of the planet. And I mean, everyone he met loved him. And when he died, I didn't know what to do with myself. And I ended up with almost 300 pounds of dogs to fill the house with the love Simon did. And it really, that's what happened, you know? So I think love is the answer to everything, you know? So, and it's very strange. That's just how I feel.
We're going to turn it to the inner child question segment. Are you ready, Annie?
Oh, gosh. Oh, yes.
First
I love
question. It. You love dandelions. What would you wish for when you were a kid?
When I was a kid, I did always wish I would get A's in school because sometimes my mother would send me to Ireland if I got all A's in school. I would also, you know, be very excited when I got a paycheck. When I started working at 12. So I got, well, not a paycheck, I got like a $20 bill, but going home and like I would take one sibling to the store that week and then another to the store the next week. So I would always wish something for my siblings at the same time. That's just how I was. Or Sting tickets. I'm just kidding. It was always something different. It might have been as simple as, I hope we have pancakes tomorrow for breakfast, or I always wanted to be able to play an instrument. So I used to always pray that I could, because I tried everything, but I was not good at it. So that I remember. And in 6th grade, I was wishing for a boyfriend. I remember that specifically. I remember that because that took a lot of dandelions off this earth, man. But but I did get a boyfriend, and his name was Ethan. So
Oh, I can just see you, Annie, like walking down the street, like having your moment of magic, and the next day, oh, that one didn't work. Gotta go get another one.
Let me go get another. Well, sometimes if there was a field of them where I lived, I'd run through it. And I'd just be, but it would be a bunch of prayers I'd be saying, because I prayed a lot. So like, it's pretty fun. Like I remember wanting a horse, because like the people across the street had horses, the people next door had horses, and I loved riding the horses, but I never got a horse. Well, Bonnie's like a horse. Tom and I just said that today. She's a horse in a barn in our house. What can I ask you? What would you wish for?
Ooh, yes. Okay. When I was a kid, I really wanted to meet Nancy Drew. Like, really, really. I wanted her to be like really real, and we would go on adventures together, and we'd go to like Peru and go like in a cave with our little flashlights and notebooks and explore. I think I really just wanted a friend to like have adventures with. And I felt like, because of my certain circumstance, I didn't have a lot of friends. I was more of the mom in the house taking care of everyone. And that was my role instead. And so I just yearned for like a buddy and a friend to go do adventures with.
Right. That's really neat, though, that you could create that friend, right? Mm-hmm. Because now look how much you create. Mm-hmm. You wrote a scary, a thrilling story. So it worked out that she probably was your best friend. You just didn't know it. I believe in that kind of stuff, though. I really do. I believe in a lot of stuff. I believe in stuff that gets you by. Like when I was first sick and told to go to hospice, blah, 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 people were sending me anything from their religion. And if it was a good religion, I used it, like even vibhuti, everything. I just used whatever was positive, whatever was. So I think it all worked, obviously, so far, But I think all of our wishes do get answered. I truly believe that. And I think your Nancy Drews are your children, because you do all those games with your kids.
We do a lot of mystery hunts here. Yes,
you do. And it's so much fun to watch. So you did get your Nancy Drew. You got your Nancy Drews. You got a whole pack of them. But, I just think that that's really, that's a really cool thing to wish for. I like that very much.
Thank you, Annie. I'll even say, as a teenager, I really wanted to meet Nick Lachey. So there was that as well. I had like remember Nick Lachey from 98 Degrees?
I still watch him on Love Island. I think that's or Love is Blind or whatever. I
had a poster in my closet, and my husband, like, we were dating in high school, and he, for the first time, came in my room, and he's like, why you got a Nick Lachey poster in your closet? And I'm like, listen, nothing to see here, man. Nothing to see.
You know what I did once? I'm so in love with Ralph Macchio, like, to this day. And like, his wife is a doctor at a hospital I sometimes have to go to. His daughter is a dancer, goes all over the world, and she was in Fame at the local theater here. Nobody would go with me, so I went because I was hoping that he would be there. I just wanted to see him in person. I mean, it's so stupid, but like, I took a picture of me like hugging a poster, with my sister. Somebody helped me. And I told all my friends I met him and showed them this picture. And they were like, you are so stupid, Annie. You're just stupid. And like, but not in a bad, I mean, not in a bad way. But the truth was, I wanted to pretend so hard that I met him. I
Mhm.
not be a liar. I guess I was wanting to be a liar, but everyone went on these grandiose holidays over the summer, right?
Mhm.
And it was very hard when everyone would come back and they had these like great stories. And so I decided one year I was going to tell everyone I met Ralph Macchio. Anyway, it didn't work at all. I don't think I could sell a lie if I wanted to, like really sell it. So I don't try, but sometimes it gets me into trouble
Mhm.
because sometimes when you are honest, people don't like that, so
Mhm.
anyway.
Yep. Yep. What is the oddest food combo that you've liked and tried, or you've just tried?
Okay. Pickles and peanut butter. But the truth is, I did that when I played a mom. Like I would play like pretend I was pregnant and eat bananas and pickles and peanut butter because I thought that's what an odd craving would be that was available in my house. Because we always played in the basement as kids, different things we put on plays, and so that was like, oh, this is actually good. Like I dipped crackers into ranch dressing back in the day. Um, I mean, who does that? It's just weird. I'm a dipper. I'm a dipper. So I think I would have tried anything in a dip. Well, not
Mhm.
bugs. I would never eat a bug. I'd never eat a snail either. You know, kids do eat the weirdest things, though. They're willing to eat the weirdest things.
Mhm.
It's not a combo, but as a child, I went to Epcot Center and we went to France because I was taking French. And I said, okay, fine. If it's French, I'll try these snails. Okay. Wow. So it comes out and I put it in my mouth and I took it out of my mouth. That was it. There was I thought it would be good because it has butter.
Yeah. Which you would
Because
hope
butter's
would
like so
smother
good.
that peanut butter.
Like now when I eat, I have to have like a gravy or a sauce,
Mhm.
something on everything to help get it down. Because otherwise it doesn't go down. Isn't that crazy? But I'm like, now it's like there has to be other things to use besides what we have. So I'm going nuts finding it. But if anyone has any advice on that, I am trying to find like things I could dip my food into that's not, ranch, like a dressing or a gravy.
Mhm.
It's just, it gets old. But yes, that's what I ate was the pickle with the peanut butter.
Jesse's agreeing with you, Annie. I tried pickles and mustard sandwich when I was a kid as a dare.
Oh, I love it. That sounds really good. There's pickle potato chips. She might
Mhm.
like those.
So if you did like a peanut butter sandwich with mustard and the pickle chips.
Oh, we should have a challenge one day and see how that
Okay.
goes. I like
Annie, you,
mustard
me, and
too.
Jesse. We'll bring Jesse on
Yeah,
since she
that would
already
be
dared
fun.
that.
That would
See
be
how
fun.
that goes.
I will do that with you. I will do that with you. I do like mustard. I like it to be honey mustard or Grey Poupon just because
Mhm.
I like the commercials. I'm a total like sales gimmick girl. My car is a Kia Soul. I don't drive anymore, but that's the car we still use. And I wanted it because of the hamsters. Lord help me. And also because it was called Soul, Kia Soul. So that's why I wanted
Mhm.
that car. My husband was like, I can't believe this, but that's why I wanted that car. But and I'm trying to say, I can be sold by a commercial. I think that's why I
Um,
try to find
mhm.
out how to sell a book for an author or do love doing like events because
Mhm.
I know these things. If you get the right thing to the one person, they'll buy it because oh my God, they put a rabbit in the picture. Got to get that book. So you just never know what it's going to be.
Yeah. That reminds me when I was 10, 8, well, it was more like 8, when they had the Oscar Mayer Wiener commercial. I did not like hot dogs at that point, but that jingle made me want to like hot dogs. I was like, this is so fun. I'm going to eat hot dogs all the time.
Oh my gosh, I love that. That's hysterical. But do you see? It's so true. It's
Yeah.
definitely so true. Um, it's amazing what marketing can do. It really is amazing.
Yep. Yep. Annie, Jesse said challenge accepted. So we'll have another episode with Jesse and I about trying that dish.
That would be wonderful.
concocted.
You guys should do it, and I'll do it while I'm watching. That would be great. I love it.
Before we end today, my beautiful friend, can you share with our listeners and viewers what living a creatively abundant life means to you?
It means to me to value your friends.
Mm.
And I say value friends first because they're choosing to be in your life, right? So it's almost like you do have an exchange like a marriage, that you're going to be friends and try to get through the hard times, especially, when someone's willing to apologize and want to talk about something. I think that's very important. Forgiveness is very important. Love your family above all else, whether they're in your life, talking to you, whatever. You have to keep loving your family. Like never give up, I say. And give back. Because my brother had this beautiful saying. I'm not saying it. He did a speech. My nephew was born with his aortas inverted. I don't know the name, but he was flown to Johns Hopkins. He needed all these heart surgeries, and we're blessed that he's alive and well and going to college in Maryland. He plays football, everything. He's a wonderful man. And my brother started doing fundraisers for Johns Hopkins, like Ronald McDonnell House, because they got to stay there to be close to Xander. And he said during one of his speeches, don't wait until something happens to you to then start helping. Find something to help, even if you have to switch gears if something does come up in your life. But don't wait. He said he was ashamed that he waited. He should have been having these golf outings all the time for the families that needed him to be doing that. And like that to me is huge. Philanthropy is huge. My sorority, Zeta Tau Alpha, stuck that in my head like there was no tomorrow. Philanthropy, philanthropy, philanthropy. Give back, love people, and give even if you can't. And to be honest, my husband was at the coffee truck that I would go get coffee from, and I saw him take off his gloves in the cold of winter to give to like a yard cleaning guy. And when I got up there, I said, why did you give him your gloves? You have to stand out here and serve coffee. He said, well, he has to work all day. I'll only be here a couple more hours. But from the moment I met him, I knew I was going to marry him. But I'm just saying, like, that nailed it for me. I was like, oh, marrying that man. And, I think generosity is very important.
Thank you so much for being here with us, Annie. It has been such a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you so much. I really appreciated being here. And I want to have you over at the Right Review now, Lori. It's time to talk about your book.
So. I'm there. And before we go, Annie, we're going to blow out the candle together and celebrate Annie's song. So on the count of 3, everyone that's also watching, you can also send love and wishes like a dandelion to Annie and her way. On the count of 3, 1, 2, 2023. Happy birthday, Annie.
Oh, thank you. Do you see what I mean? You're so sweet. Like, it's just like, that was so beautiful and powerful. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for everyone that watched and listened, and thank you again for having me. You're a wonderful host. I love watching your shows.
Likewise. And where can we find you, Annie, if we're looking for where to pick up Annie's song, or if our listeners or viewers have any questions for you after the show?
Thank you. You can get the book anywhere books are sold, online. Hopefully they'll be in stores too. The book's doing pretty good, so I think it's going to be. But I'm on Linktree, The Right Review, and it's WRITE review. So it's just you go to linktree.com and then you put in The Right Review, and that will tell you every single way you can find me, email me, buy the book, everything.
Perfect. And Julia says, happy birthday. Thank you, Julia.
Thank you, Julia. Woohoo!
Thank you so much for everyone who have joined us live and will be watching on the replay. We're so grateful for you. Remember, as you go about the rest of your week, to find the things that are working in your life. You are the creator of your own story. What steps will you take next? Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Annie.
Thank you. Bye-bye. See you later.